Hi, I'm Scott Ackerman, CEO at Tunecore, and I'm here watching HotNewHipHop. My name is Scott Ackerman. I've been with Tunecore for 7 years. I originally, got a degree at Pepperdine University in business communications, and then later got a law degree at Temple Law. Started in the airline industry in the customer service side, so worked at DFW and worked at LaGuardia here in New York and Philadelphia International Airport. And then moved into really the internet world, and specifically with startup companies. So I moved to Chicago and was part of the startup team at Orbitz.com, the travel website. And then moved out to California and worked with eHarmony, the dating website. And, at eHarmony, it was really great because while all companies are out there to help people, eHarmony was specifically helping people find the love of their life. And when I was contacted with a headhunter about Tunecore, really the same kind of model, building an opportunity to help artists that typically didn't have the chance to be signed by a label, and creating a business to give every content creator an opportunity to succeed in the world. Well, I always had a passion for music, and as I said, I was not from the music industry because I was working at eHarmony at the time. But a couple things. I think Tunecore was looking for someone to come in and really focus on the service side, which is where my background was. But it was really the way the music industry was moving with companies like Tunecore, giving every content creator an opportunity in the world. Before the Tunecores, you had to be introduced to a label, and someone at the label was deciding whether they were going to make you a star or not. And it was really exciting to think about, wow, here's an opportunity. People can create content in their bedroom, put it up on Tunecore, get their music out all over the world, and basically could become a star just by giving fans an opportunity to listen to the music rather than an A&R person making that decision. The core piece of our business is distribution. It's how the company started, and it always remains the main focus for us. And a couple of things that make Tunecore a little different. While we are a subscription model, we pay 100% out back to the artist. And so all the money that's earned through the digital stores that's passed to Tunecore goes directly to the artists. And so that's the premise of our business. Artists give us their content. We distribute that out to over 150 digital stores worldwide. We're constantly adding more stores. When we survey our customers, while money is always important, in our surveys, the #1 reason customers come to us is they want worldwide distribution. They want to be able to tell their family and friends, hey, my music is heard in Vietnam, or my music is heard in Russia. And so we constantly are focusing on new stores, while obviously the Spotifys and Apples and Amazons are the main stores. It's also important to find local stores in local countries that, artists always think, I think originally, that their fans are in their backyard, and our model often shows that's not true. And through the data, artists can tell that we provide that, again, they may have a huge drawing in Cambodia. And so it's very important for us. So that's the core piece of the business. Artists come to us, they pay a yearly fee, whether it's a single or an album. As we were, built that model, artists constantly came back to us and said, you're so transparent, we love your model, but we also have to go to all these other places to get all the other services that we need. And so we started to think about how could we eventually build a 360 complete model where artists could remain independent and get the services, pick and choose what they need to continue to grow their business. And so we launched our publishing administration and sync business. to give artists an opportunity to get all that extra money as songwriters. There's lots of money that's collected worldwide. There's also sync opportunities, especially today. There's more and more new miniseries and more channels on TV or launching TV miniseries programs, commercials, and looking more for the independent artist. And so our publishing administration sync business has been around for 6 years now, and it's really strong, and we encourage all of our songwriters to join that. We also then launched our YouTube business to monetize when artists' music is being put on other people's videos. So if I create a video about my cat and I use your music, there's a great opportunity to collect money on that. And that business is growing very fast. And we encourage all of our artists to join our YouTube business, because you never know what YouTube creators whose music they're going to use. And the interesting thing is that could go viral overnight. And if it goes viral and then you join, you've missed out on a big opportunity. So YouTube's also a big part, and so we encourage all of our artists to join that as well. And then we also launched our artist services platform, where we either through affiliate deals or integration give opportunities for our artists for other services, whether it's CD duplication. A lot of artists are still making CDs to hand out, to use as promotion, mixing and mastering tools. We have a fan review tool where artists can have experienced fans listen to their content and give a score rating. And then most recently, which we're really excited about, we acquired a social media tool called Just Go and launched our own social media platform. It's free online on our website for our artists to use, but we've also got a subscription model with a mobile application where artists now can message their fans on the go, send one message to all of their social media channels. They can schedule that message in advance and then get the data back on it. And then also on the mobile app, which is real exciting, see their sales data and see how by using tools to reach out to their fans, they can also grow their sales. Well, I think one of the things we realized early was while Tunecore.com is available for everyone in the world, and over 30% of customers coming to Tunecore.com are outside of the United States, we also realized that we wanted to work on local markets. And so I really kind of took the lead with our team on expanding internationally. And so we launched first Tunecore Canada. It was pretty easy for us because it's our neighbor and it's basically the same language. Same currency, and so we launched Tunecore Canada, but we do have local content on that website, which we think is important. After that, we started to look at where are the important markets to be in. So we did a joint venture with a Japanese company, and we have Tunecore Japan. And then in the last couple of years, we've really focused on the international market. So we have Tunecore UK, Tunecore Germany, Tunecore France, and Tunecore Italy. We also have Tunecore Australia. And in those markets, especially in the international market, it's about the currency, which is important, the language. So in Germany, the Tunecore Germany is you can pay in euro and get your sales in euro, and obviously the content is in German. But we're also focusing on the local content in the local markets, because one thing we've learned in this business, there's different ways artists have become successful in different countries and how they approach it. And so we try to focus on that as well. So, the international expansion has been very important to us. And so we're going to continue to look at that as we look at other emerging markets and continue to grow the business. Well, a lot of it is, I do a lot of traveling. The other piece that we did that has been really successful for us is, while Tunecore, the main focus is acquiring customers online, through marketing with SEO and SEM. We also established some, kind of boots on the ground in certain markets. And so we opened an office first in Nashville, and then we opened an office in Austin, Texas, and Atlanta. and most recently in New Orleans. And so, and our publishing administration team is in Burbank, California. And, now we have brand managers in the UK and Germany and France, now that we're in those markets. So I think it's important to be visible in those markets and help support our teams there. And so I do a lot of traveling. Also, 2 years ago, we sold our company to Believe Digital, a French company, and their offices are located in Paris, and so I have to travel quite frequently for board meetings. But when I'm in the office, it's really, working with our marketing, product, technology, our customer care operations team, and working on a strategy to continue to find new ways to service our customers and help them along their journey. Well, I think, when I go back to the early days, I think a lot of people thought the distribution companies were an outlet for them to either listen to music, like a Spotify, or use somebody else's music. And so, when I first got there, we had a couple of instances, and you'll always have that, where people will upload a Taylor Swift song or use someone else's music. And so we pretty quickly put together a team that monitors. So we monitor every asset before it goes out to the stores to make sure not only and we don't curate, so we're not looking to decide whether the content is acceptable or not, but whether we've passed all the copyright infringement, and make sure the asset's clean. And so that was really one of the first things that, we looked at. It still is a challenge today because there's always people that, want to take advantage of those things. But we spend a lot of time to make sure that when we send assets to the digital stores that there's no infringements. Yes, but I think because we built a model where we give everybody an opportunity, we don't focus on one genre. Growing up, I liked progressive rock. Genesis was the first concert I went to as a kid. My music tastes have changed as I've aged. I listen to more classical and new age music now. But I have to tell you, the interesting thing about, traveling to South by Southwest and most recently at A3C, listening to more and more hip hop music. I just applaud all content creators because it's not an easy task to put a song together, and I think every piece of music has value to it. And while we've created this avenue for artists to get their music out, and a lot of artists that come to me and they say, "Oh, thank you so much to Tunecore," I applaud them because they did all the hard work. It's interesting. I kind of learned a long time ago, everybody buys diapers, so customers are always the same everywhere. I mean, you can use that analogy for lots of products. And while there's certain things that you need to adapt to, obviously we have some issues at Tunecore that are different than Orbit's. Customers are customers. And, we actually do call our base customers because not all of our customers are actual artists. We have labels that use us. We have, lawyers, managers. We have moms who put up their children's music up on Orbits, and so on Tunecore, and so we call the group customers, although many of them are artists. But it's all about providing opportunities for them to be able to get their questions answered easily. Everybody has questions. It's all basically the same. And I think the most important thing I learned a long time ago is to be consistent. Whatever you build in your customer care operations, how you treat your customer, how you answer your customer, you need to be consistent so that if it's one of our customer care reps or even one of our employees on the street who runs into an artist, they're giving them the same answer. So I think, we provide tools for the artist and they use those to develop themselves. So we're never going to be stepping in saying, we can do this for you, we can do that for you, and, we'll take a percentage of that. So, I think originally started with our reporting. we thought it was real important in the very beginning to be very transparent, to let artists know exactly who is listening to their music. You know, one of our best success stories in the early days is an artist named Ron Pope, who started here in the subways in Manhattan and used Tunecore in the early days, and very quickly learned that he had a huge audience base in Scandinavia, and so he focused on that. Grew his fan base, toured over there. Obviously, you know, he has a worldwide fan base now and is very successful, but, you know, took those, took the reporting, the tools that we provided, and marketed himself. And, you know, now with our Tunecore Social, same thing. You know, we're providing some tools. The artist has to do the work, though. We'll give them the data, but, you know, as with anything, if you don't take the data and use it, it's no good. And so our artists, we provide those opportunities for them. So that's, and we're going to continue to find more ways to do that, to help artists develop themselves. We're not going to do the actual development for them, and I think that's the difference. Education, too, is what we're really focused on now. You know, as we continue to go out to conferences and spend time with artists, we realize there's a big opportunity for us to help educate and also use artists to do that. And that was one of the most fascinating things early for me as we brought artists in roundtables. What I love about the industry is artists are not afraid to share their successes with other artists. There's not this big competition generally, and so it's great when you get artists around a table to say, hey, you know what worked for me? You should try this. And so we spend more and more time with our artists and share those success stories so that other artists can learn from them. Great. You know, that's so true, and I think one of the things we found early is our artist base has embraced streaming. Several reasons. They're making a lot of money with it, and you know, we're able to share those success stories. Again, we don't share the income of our artists, but our artists can certainly do that if they want to. But again, I think more importantly with the streaming aspect is, and with the reporting, you know, people are being able to use that as a discovery tool. And, you know, like as Ron Pope would say, as he embraced streaming, you know, he's got 9 hours of catalog on Spotify. If somebody was, you know, using iTunes, they'd have to spend a lot of money to peruse 9 hours of catalog, where with Spotify, a subscriber could easily do that. And so it's a great discovery tool. And, you know, more and more artists are making more money with streaming. And you're right, we try to get out there and educate artists with that. And we want them to use all of our digital stores, whether they're download or streaming, and use that data to continue to grow their business. You know, I think to start with, you know, a lot of questions are, you know, what does my asset have to look like when I give it to you? And we've tried to make that very easy for them. I think they would ask, you know, which stores should I put my music on? And, you know, when you come to Tunecore, we default to all stores because we encourage all of our artists to use all stores, but some will pick and choose and some will only go in some territories. And, you know, we let them make that decision. Obviously, we recommend being everywhere. I think those are some of the big questions. And then, you know, how do I promote my music is really the big question now, and this is why we've really focused on our Tunecore Social tool, and we'll continue to add more features to that to help artists continue to work on promoting their music. Like, how do you grow your fan base from 10 to 50? And we're using our tool and giving some success stories alongside that of how other artists have used social media to grow their fan base. Absolutely. I mean, if you've established yourself, you know, a couple years ago when Fleetwood Mac put out their album, they used Tunecore. They've got their own team, right? And so they're just looking for distribution. And so why wouldn't you want to use Tunecore and get 100% of your sales back? I mean, you know, Chance the Rapper is a perfect example of an independent artist who exclusively uses Tunecore for distribution. He's built his own team. You know, I think that was actually one of the biggest surprises to me when I started at Tunecore. I think, you know, I think the overall goal originally was, you know, and always will be, working on the emerging artists, but we have, I mean, Prince used us at one time for a release, and so I can go down the list of lots of successful artists who have used Tunecore. And I think, you know, if you've got your team and you don't need a label, why wouldn't you? It just makes perfect sense. But you know, I will also tell you, though, we've had success stories of artists starting with Tunecore and then moving to a label, and we think that's great too if that fits the artist's need. Perfect example is Russ. You know, he started with us in 2011. I think he has over 50 releases on Tunecore, but his latest album, he's now licensed with Sony. And that's great for him. The rest of his music is still on Tunecore, earning 100%. And obviously, he has a deal with Sony where they're helping him for certain things that he needs. And so we see that as a very good success story as well. You know, I think it's always been to focus on the customer. I think, you know, you can build great websites, you can build great products and think up great things that could help people in the world, but unless you really focus on the customer and make sure you've closed that gap as well. While we've made it easy for artists to get their asset on Tunecore and get their music out worldwide, you know, within 24 hours, if you don't have that customer support and the consistency, you're not going to succeed. And so I think that I learned that pretty quickly, even in my airline days. You know, you've got to give all the tools you can. You've got to let the artists know that we're there for them. And as I continue to travel, you know, I hear those stories about, you know, they know our customer care staff's names, and you know, when they need them, they need them. You know, that's a great question. We ponder that every day because, you know, I think 10 years ago we didn't think about streaming, and so what is going to be next? I don't have the answer for that. You know, vinyl now is becoming bigger and bigger, so it's almost making a full circle. You know, I think as far as consumption for us, it's focusing on the emerging markets. You know, we need to look at where we can get our music out for our artists in other areas of the world, so that, you know, ultimately everywhere in the world people can hear artists that come to Tunecore, their music. So that's going to be a big focus for us. And again, I think it's more of what other tools can we help provide. But, you know, as far as what's the next big thing, we're constantly every day looking at that. We don't have the answer yet. Who knows what that's going to be? But we're excited that we're always focused on that, so that we'll be part of that. I think one of the things we've always taken pride in, and we, you know, even at A3C, we had one of our artists talk to a group of hip-hop artists, and, you know, talked about, you know, he gave a great statement that Tunecore grows with the industry. So if they've launched Tunecore Social, then that's where you need to be. And that was a great compliment, because I think that's where we always want to be. We want our artists to know that we're always on the cutting edge and we're always thinking about the next thing. You know, I think continuing to offer all the services and continuing to work with our partner, Believe Digital, because they offer more of the label services, so that we can always have that complete 360 opportunity for artists. They can stay on Tunecore, they can remain independent, they can pick and choose what they want. If they need label services, we can give that as well, so that any part of an artist's career, our company's going to be there for them. And, you know, I think we're just going to continue to focus on that and offer more and more services.